So today we are going digital. Remember when they did that with the tellers? So what we're going to be doing is converting from all these analog gauges, we've got loads of them, take up loads of space, to this little beautiful Veratron. So the Veratron converts all the analog inputs that go into the back of the gauges into digital ones and then displays it on the digital formats. But for us to fit this, we need to make a new one, we need to make a new dashboard basically. And then we're also going to be fitting our Axiom into the dashboard. So first job is to get rid of all this stuff, all these gauges off here, and then start making a new dashboard. Right, let's first autopilot off.
Do you need a hammer and a chisel for this job?
I was trying to wind Gemma up. But I don't actually know how these fit, but I know the actual computing, the actual gyro is in here somewhere, so we need to be a bit careful. But there must be like a little thing to get it off. But and the only reason I want to get it off now because there's one of these screws is behind here.
That just looks like it's held together with sticky pads.
It was. So we can get to me screw now.
I think it's broke. Work smart, not hard.
Right, there's too many wires, we'll put it back together. Like spaghetti down there. Right, so I think these two plugs there are for the dashboard. You can see like the clearly marked red and green. Don't know what that means. Right, so we now need to take the switch panel off because the autopilot's behind there. We need to try and get the autopilot wiring out. Don't like it behind there, it's all a bit... it's a future job, but I'm going to take it down carefully. Obviously there's mains behind here, so if you ever start messing around behind one of these switch panels, it could be deadly. So we'll film it in case they get a shock.
Don't say that. So which one plugged the lecky?
That will mean your heater going off.
I know, but I'd rather my husband not die, to be honest.
Go on then. You got like, don't try to race me. We're safe, but we've not got no blow heater.
Oh, I can't make you a cup of tea.
Maybe we should plug it back in, make a brew and then do it.
Maybe you should work quicker.
Right, so all the wires going to the bottom of the autopilot there, so I've just taken a photo of it. So when it goes back together, we'll make sure it's in the right place. Yeah! And she's out! So all the random wires, I haven't got a clue what to do at the moment. I'm guessing more grounds, but we'll label them all and the corresponding ones still on the boat. Right, so we decided just to like sticky tape them there.
So we've just found a big problem. So we were just sort of in our mind going, right, we're going to put this there and put this there. So we want the Veratron central in the middle, so you can see all your engine controls and stuff like that. So we were like, right, I want the Axiom over this side, but now the wires clash, so it doesn't sit as flush as we wanted it to.
But we've just been onto Rain Marine and they do a 90-degree angled extender thingy to get it round. But us being us, we don't do things by halves, do we? So we've had a new plan, haven't we?
We're actually maybe considering changing the shape of the dash.
Yeah, that's what you do, don't you? You just go, oh, let's remodel, let's knock that wall out.
So instead of having it flush here, because I've been worried about glare as well on the angle, so we're thinking of maybe putting it a bit more upright and having it a bit higher, because then we've also got more space further down for stuff, and potentially there would be space for a repeater screen. We don't know. You know, future add-ons.
Future Simon and Gemma.
Right, so we still don't know how we're doing this dash, so let's keep scratching our heads and let's go back to the workshop and let's see what materials we've got available to do the job.
We go dip in our scrap pile, don't we?
Yes. Right, let's go.
Right, we're back in the workshop now. Got the dashboard all here. Right, what I've done, I've made some braces for it. So these braces are basically to keep the shape of the dash. So when we do some cuts on it, it doesn't ping and like change shape. So we know by making the braces now that it's going to fit back onto the original console of the dash, don't we? Right, so what we need to do now is some modelling. So we're going to use some cardboard to basically get the new shape of the dash, and then we can cut out. So our primary objective is to fit one of them in it. So that's the Axiom 12 and the Veratron. So the Veratron is going to go around here, because this will display both engines, and then our fish finder and navigation and all that sort of jazz is going to go around here somewhere on that sort of angle. So we're going to have two angles on the dash, which I think will be quite cool, because well, what we want to be able to do is see the fish finder when we're fishing. So the closer it is to us, the better, really, and we can sort of monitor the fish. Right, so let's try and figure out a shape. So we're going to do probably two templates. We're going to do a really rough template to begin with to get the actual aesthetics of it, and then we'll do a nice template which we can transfer to some aluminium sheets, which I went to the shop before and bought that one. I've also made some pieces of wood which simulate the cutouts of the Veratron and the Axiom. Right, so if you can see the faint line, the black on there, all the way around. So that's where we're going to cut it out. Well, there's no going back now, is there? Right, I just found a scrap of alley. So I think that's what sort of design the dashboard is going to go for. Obviously that's going to be all the way along there. So we'll go and cut the alley at this width here, and then try and get it folded, and then we can get it tacked in, and then we can work on the sides later. So to cut the alley, we're going to be using our table saw. Run it through, it gets nice and square. Lots of swarf flies off of there, so I've got glasses on, so it's fine. It is abusive, that, hence I've got the hood up. Just getting peppered. It gives a nice cut. Right, it's all cut. Removed all the sharp edges. Some people are into that. Right, so we need to make that shape now out of this. I've kind of underestimated how thick this is. I've gone for 3mm, and obviously I haven't got any proper bending equipment, so we're going to have to try and fold it. So the first fold we're going to do, which is going to be right at the top of where the Axiom is. So we're going to start with that fold, and then we'll do the rest of the measurements, because if the angles are slightly out, it doesn't really matter, because it'll just sort of change as long as the top is parallel with the dashboard, basically. That's what I'm going for, so the compass stays flat and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to try and do it. I've screwed down this piece of chipboard stuff, so that's going to be a nice flat surface, and then we're going to clamp this rusty piece of box section, which shouldn't flex, over the top of it, and then hopefully we can bend it. I don't know, we'll see. Right, so she's all clamped up. For some reason I'm nervous, but I've still got some more alley over there, so if it goes wrong, well, just lose a bit of alley, don't we? Right, let's see if we can fold it. So the angle we're looking for is this one here. So we want that to be up there. And all we'll do is pick up the bench. Well, it kind of works at the moment. It definitely needs some more, doesn't it? Still some more. Okay, so I think the angle's actually quite good. Bit more of a radius than I would have liked. I like that a bit tighter. But looking down, it looks dead straight. There's no like, there's a slight sort of curve in here, but I think when we start the welding process, we can sort that out. Right, on to the next fold now. So that's going to be the front with the axiom. There's going to be a parallel section there. And then this one has to come up 90 degrees. So it's sitting pretty level, a bit of flex in here where we can push that in and weld it. But there is a slight curl here, which in hindsight I think that's to be expected, isn't it? So I think what we'll do is we'll try this into the dash before we bend it anymore, because we can always compensate with one or the other. Even if it's got a slight curl at the back, doesn't matter. Like I said, I don't really want to hit it and create loads of dents, because it'll just end up having to be filled more, won't it? Because we are going to wrap it, by the way. So we've got a carbon fibre wrap on it, which will look pretty cool. I've just removed it from the clamps and check it out. It looks brilliant, doesn't it? Until we start welding it, but that's alright. Right, so I've made some wooden blocks in 150mm, so we can keep this parallel here with the top, which is at the moment upside down. So first we're going to start with tacking the underside, so we keep that perfectly straight, because that's going to be like a bit of a datum. That's set up now perfect. So if we get that welded right, the only problem with the welding, I'm not very good at the alley welding, so we'll have to see how we get on. So we're using our TIG welder, our first test, is how you say it, CT 2050. It's actually a really good machine. It's got a plasma cutter in it as well, it's awesome. Right, let's see if we can remember how to do this. But just remember, it's got like a smart function where you basically select your material thickness. So I think we'll start with that. Done worse. So in the past I've definitely done worse than that, so we're on a winner. I'm well impressed with that. That looks really good. There's a slight sort of, this is ever so slightly tighter than it is in the middle, but I think the way we folded it, that's to be expected, isn't it? But you'll never notice that. You'll never notice this. Right, so I made some little side pieces now, which go into there. So let's get this welded up. Yeah. Do you feel like you've cracked something? Last time I was welding, I think it's because it was on the fuel tanks. It was so contaminated. I just couldn't clean them. But it just kept coming out and coming out. It was porous. It was doing this, doing that. This has just really restored my faith in welding. Even though them tanks didn't leak, but it took me a long time to do that good. But because I'm using like nice brand new aluminum, as the Americans would say, it's working really well. This welder is a beast. Right, so the welding's all finished. Let's cut some holes in the front of it now to put the Veratron in. I think that was quite good, didn't it? It's a shame we're missing another axiom, but we cannot afford one. Cannot afford one at the moment. But we've got options in the future, haven't we? Right, so we're going to go around grinding everything flat now. It's going to put like a little radius of filler in there. So the covering goes on quite nice. Next problem I've come across, well, not a problem, but a design decision, is these corners. So do I radius them? Radius them dead easy. But then, because I'm not very good at wrapping or know much about wrapping, so I've just done a very, very quick test of the carbon wrap. So if I radius it, and we're going to get the wrap round, because to my knowledge that has to be in two pieces. So I'm just having a bit of a debate with myself. I think the only real advantage of radiusing it is it's less of a sharp edge, but you're not really going to bang yourself on there anyway, are you? I don't know. I need to have a think. Right, I think we're going to go for the wrap. It looks quite good. There's like a little lip here because I've had to fold this one over, but I can probably get that better on the final go. Right, I'm going to sand all this up now, get it filled, and then we'll wrap it. So I've just been having a conversation with Gemma, and she says it's not symmetrical. We need another axiom to go there. It's so beneficial when you're out on the boat, because you can run two things at once, two full screen things. You can run like, I don't know, your charts, your navigation, and your fish finder, or your radar, or something like that. While we're at this position now, because I'd rather not cut it on the boat, I'd rather cut it now. So yeah, we've got another one coming, so let's cut a hole in that and then we'll carry on with the filling. That looks better. Right, she's all filled up quite nice now. Right, the wrap hasn't arrived yet because I had to order quite a bit of it to get up and over it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this to the boat, make sure it fits, and then we might start some of the wiring. Then we'll bring this back, then we'll wrap it, and we can take it all back, and hopefully it fits perfect. It fits. Right, so now when it all fits, we'll take all this back out and we'll start some wiring. Right, so I've reinstalled the original gauges, and what I've been doing, I've been taking measurements. So basically, I think it's called a fingerprint. So before we disconnect these gauges from the system, we know what the values were on these gauges. Because otherwise you could plug all the new one in, then it could be reading crazy numbers, couldn't it? So this gives us our baseline to work from. The engine's cold at idle. So oil pressure's 62 psi, on the port engine and 59 psi it's reading on the starboard engine. This is at idle, at cold. Fuel level is 45% ports, 50% starboard. I've written the hours down as well. Oil pressure, transmission pressure, 300, 295 and 1414 on the voltage. Coolant temperature is hard to read because basically it's just on the stop and it doesn't start reading to 40 degrees, so it'll take a while to get that up there. So, but we can actually probe the coolant temperature to make sure that's right. Right, so what we need to start doing now is cutting some wires. So yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, but I've fitted loads of digital dashboards on motorbikes and cars and stuff like that. So once you get into it, it's not actually as bad as it looks or bad as you think. We can lose a lot of these wires because a lot of these are for like the dash lights and stuff like that. Another thing we need to remember to keep is the buzzer. So for when there's low oil pressure, like now, so we need to keep that behind the scenes. And the hour meter, I might keep them behind the scenes as well, so we can obviously, you can basically monitor the hours. I think there is an hour meter. I think you can program the hour meter on the digital dash, but just in case you can't. Right, let's get to cutting. So in the box you get all the wires, all the fixings and all that sort of stuff. Another thing, this Veratron is actually VDO. They've used video gauges for years and they've always been good, but all the gauges in the boat are actually VDO, so technically it should communicate really, really well. Right, so all we need to do now is connect these to here. Right, start by getting rid of all the cable ties, I think. So the things we've got to start with is the things that aren't 100% necessary at the moment. So that's all the dash lights system, because each gauge is illuminated individually. So let's start with pulling all them out, and we'll try and get all these away. Right, so they're all the grounds that basically link all the gauges together. These here are the dash lights. Don't need those. Right, so we've got the first few sets of wires in now. Should we see what it does? All this is the power to it. Because once we've got the power, get communication with it, actually turn it on, then we can start putting the other inputs in it, can't we? So let's give it a quick run. It's doing something. It's reading the battery voltage. Wow, look. Engine 1, engine 2. It's giving little flashes to basically say there's a problem, but we haven't got anything connected yet. Right, I'm going to go and connect all the other wires up, and then we'll have a look after that. Right, I've got the majority of the wiring done. What I need to do now is probably configure it. It's all sort of working, but there's a few calibrations here and there that are out. Yeah, so back to the workshop and we'll go and wrap the dashboard now we know it fits. Right, so back at the workshop, it's about to wrap it, but we thought we need to make a decision on the autopilot. We cannot afford a new fancy autopilot, so unfortunately we're going to be putting that one here against all these very high-tech pieces of equipment to this 1980's piece of equipment, but it works, so that's where it's going to go for now.
Does it work?
It does a little bit, yeah.
A little bit. Have you ever heard anyone say that about their autopilot? It does work a little bit. Yeah, no. We only go left.
Works 50% of the time. Yeah, it only goes left. Yeah, quality tools as well.
So we are getting ready to wrap the dash. So I'm just giving it a little panel wipe, a little tack cloth. So we're using a carbon wrap on the dash. So time for this challenging job now. This is something that we're not the best at.
We're not very good at anything.
But we're gonna
muddle through.
we get through. So time to get wrapping. Hopefully it doesn't end up like when you wrap up Christmas presents.
Yeah.
Right, wish us luck.